Hey everybody, welcome. Brighten Up Sunshine here, where every day is a new beginning. Today's video is all about the hidden trap, how wasting your time online actually hurts you, and how we could actually break free. So we're going to go over some stats today, like this one. Did you know that the average person spends 6 hours a day online? That's more than a quarter of our day. And that's counting a quarter if we're actually separating the time we're sleeping. Imagine what you could actually do if you took that time and did something else. Maybe you would exercise. Maybe you could learn a new skill, spend some more time with your family. Instead, many of us are actually stuck in an endless cycle of scrolling, clicking, and binge watching, wasting precious moments of our lives. The internet, while amazing, can actually become a trap that harms both our time and our mental health. We're going to explore how much time we actually waste online, the negative effects of our well-being, and how we can actually reclaim our time. Plus, we'll look at how we could break free from the grip of the internet and actually learn to use technology wisely instead of allowing it to use us. Let us start with just a few numbers, a few facts, because what you don't know can actually hurt you. For example, did you know that the average American, like I said, spends 6 hours a day on digital devices? That's 45 hours a week, guys. That's insane. 45 hours a week. I mean, we're considered full-time if we're working 32 to 40 hours a week. We're spending more than full-time hours online averagely a week. Most time spent on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. These are our biggest time killers. And that's what it does. It kills your time. Time is the one thing you can never get back. Think about that. Money, you can get that back if you lose some. Just about anything you can get back. But time, you can't get that back. About 2.5 hours a day is spent on social media alone. And then 3.5 hours are spent on things like Netflix and YouTube. Keeping the people glued to their screens. That's insane. When we add up all this, we see that many of us spend nearly a third of our waking hours online. But are we using that time wisely? That's the question. There's a harm to our mental health that's going on, and it's kind of like a spell that's been cast on the whole world. Because you see it. If you're at family dinners, how long does it take before somebody grabs out the phone or the computer or the laptop and starts scrolling or starts telling you about what they're looking at? There are real mental health struggles going on. Studies show that people who spend more time on social media tend to actually feel more depressed and anxious. But it is an addiction and it's hard to break. So we're going to talk about how to break it. So stay tuned at the end of this because I do have some actual helpful tips. But we have to know where we're at. There's constant comparison online. We know there's cyberbullying. There's unrealistic standards. How many times have you even seen your family or friends? And online, they look so different than what they look like in real life. And those standards actually lower our self-esteem. Before we know it, we're doing the apps, the beauty apps, the different apps to make us look however we think the standard of beauty is online. We're not just scrolling, though. We're actually addicted. The endless stream of information, the likes, the comments, the triggers, what it does to our brain is releases dopamine, which is that feel-good chemical, so they hijack us. But over time, we need more and more to feel that same rush, and that leads to the addiction. There's sleep disruptions. The blue light from the screen messes with our sleep cycles. Studies have found that over 50% of people who use screens right before their bed actually have poor sleep quality. And this affects our mood and our energy levels, especially the next day. We have physical health issues from spending too much long hours sitting and staring at screens, and this leads back to eye pain and eye strain and back pain and weight gain. And you could be sacrificing your physical health just by scrolling. So, if you spent 1 hour a day on social media, do you realize like you would be so much less than the 6 hours most people spend? But do you realize that 1 hour a day is still 365 hours a year? And there's only 24 hours in a day. So, how many days would that be? If you spent 3 hours a day on entertainment, that would be 1,095 hours or nearly 46 days in a year. This is crazy. Crazy. 3 hours a day is 46 days in 1 year. Imagine what you could do with that time that's being stolen. Learn a new skill, a language, spend more time with your friends, your family, exercise, read, maybe even have some personal goals you could work on that it would advance you and add to your life instead of just kill your time. When we look at numbers, it's clear. Time online adds up, and not in a good way, and not for us, but against us. Now, technology is not all bad. In fact, it can actually be good too. I mean, we have to admit that. But the problem is the way it hijacks our brain. Here are some ways to use the internet wisely. We could use it by learning. You can take online courses to improve your skills or learn something new. That's a good way, like a language art or even coding. Connecting. Instead of just scrolling, we could use social media to connect meaningfully with friends or family that we don't get to see all the time. Growth. Apps like Headspace and Calm can actually help you practice mindfulness and meditation and reduce stress and improve mental health. But how do we break free from the spell that's been cast upon the whole world? We could set time limits because one of the ways to break a spell is to actually know that it's there. So set the time limits. Use apps or settings on your phone, like just a simple timer, to limit the time you spend online. You'd be surprised how much time you're actually spending online, and then you could reclaim it. You could actually create offline goals. Plan your day with offline activities. Set aside time for reading, exercising, or hobbies that don't involve any screen time. You could unplug for a day. Choose a day that you would go screen free. This will help you realize just how much time you're wasting online and how addicted it is. And it would give you a fresh perspective because, again, acknowledging there's a problem is the first step to recovery. You could practice gratitude instead of taking that mindless scroll. Take time to reflect on all the blessings of your life, and this would help you build more positive mindset. See, life is a gift, and it is important to read scripture if we're trying to break spells because we can't break a spell on our own. In Ephesians 5:15-16, it says, be careful, very careful, it actually says, how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, by making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. This verse reminds us that we are meant to live with purpose, use our time wisely. Wasting hours online, well, they seem harmless. But when we look at the bigger picture, it can actually prevent us from fulfilling the calling that God has on our lives. Another verse to look at is Psalms 90:12. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. This reminds us to be mindful of how we're actually using our time. Every day is precious, and we should treat it as such. So just like Psalms 90:12 says, teach us, God, to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. See, there's a story I heard about John, and John was an average guy who spent hours every day on social media. He loves scrolling. He scrolled through TikTok, X, Facebook. He watched hours of YouTube videos. Over time, he began to feel empty and disconnected. He realized he had no time with his family. He had no hobbies, and even his faith was destroyed. One day, he decided he was going to break free from the spell. And he started small, and he set limits on his phone. He actually wrote down what he had to do before he actually went online. And then he actually did what he reflected on how he was feeling before he went online. He reflected on how he was feeling after he went online. He actually wrote down on a piece of paper what he was going to do before he went online, and then how the outcome was and what he could do better next time. He actually started taking proactive measures to break the spell. He started small, though, but little by little, his life began to feel fuller. And he didn't give up technology completely, but he learned to use it wisely, taking back control. See, we're supposed to subdue, not be subdued. So let me just go over. I told you guys I was going to give you some things that you could actually do. Well, first, you have to understand that there is a spell that's been cast, and it is actually using the dopamine reward system against us. Online platforms are designed to provide quick hits of dopamine through likes, comments, and anticipation of new content, which can actually be addictive. We have endless content, the infinite scroll and recommendations, the algorithms. They're always giving us something new, leading to a feeling of never being done. Social connection. The need for social interaction can pull people into platforms where they might spend more time than they ever intended. So, some things we can do. Number one, to break the spell, be mindful. Be aware of your online habits. Like John, the story we talked about, you have to write down what you're going online for. Is it entertainment or is it education? Is it going to kill our time or is it going to add value? Recognize when you're mindlessly scrolling or engaging. And by writing it down, we're holding ourselves accountable. Before we go online, set that timer, what you're allowed to do. Did you get sidetracked? Because you need to evaluate, did you get sidetracked at the end of this session? Then, after you set your intention, before you go online, deciding what you want to achieve, and trying to set make sure you stay focused. That's why you have to evaluate at the end of it. You limit your exposure by setting that timer, is limiting your exposure. Number 3, replace your offline activities. Engage in walking or some form of exercise, coloring, doing art, spending time with your family, gardening, painting, planting, taking the dog for a walk, musical instruments, learning a new language. Something you can do without online, though. And number 4, digital detox. Schedule breaks. So maybe you just go to 1 hour. 1 hour is all that you allow yourself a day. Number 5, when you want to curate your online experience, quality over quantity. Follow or engage with content that is genuinely going to add value to your life or your learning and not just waste your time in entertainment. In fact, follow only the people who add value to your life and unfollow regularly. Clean digital detoxing. Just clean up the environment. Remove sources that do not serve your interest or make you feel well. 6, build offline connections. Connect with your family and friends. Prioritize real-life interactions over the digital ones for deeper, more meaningful connections. Remember, online is not real life. Real life is here in this world when the internet's off. 7, mindful consumption. Consume with purpose. When you're online, consume the internet to learn, to create, or connect meaningfully rather than just kill your time. Time you cannot get back. I cannot stress that enough. And let's talk about number 8, which is tech hygiene. Declutter the digital life. Organize your digital spaces just like you would your physical ones. Less clutter means less temptation to dive in unnecessary. And we can do this physical as well by setting up our environment where we're not just reaching over, grabbing our phone as soon as we wake up, or grabbing it and scrolling right before we go to bed. Number 9, self-reflection. Journal. Write about your feelings towards online use. What draws you in? And what do you do to gain control of it? By being mindful, by, setting time limits? Or do you lose control? Journal about it. If you're losing control, then that means you're not actually subduing it. You're not actually controlling it. It's controlling you. Again, it's about being mindful of it. Educate yourself on how social media is used against us, and online in general is used against us. When you educate yourself about it, then you know the enemy's there. Because we are constantly having our time stolen from us. That one precious thing that we can never, ever, ever get back. So we're giving this precious gift called time. We're gave this from God. And how we use it, well, that's up to us. The internet can be a helpful tool, but it can also be a complete time-wasting trap, a spell cast on the entire world. The next time you find yourself scrolling, ask yourself, is this how I want to spend the rest of my life? Because that's what you're wasting away, is your life. Make a choice today to reclaim your time. Use it to grow, connect, and create a life that's full of purpose and joy. Life is short, guys. Make every moment count. So some key takeaways here. The average person spends 6 hours a day online, and that adds up to a whole lot of wasted life. Time killers. Time spent online can harm your mental and physical health. Technology can be a tool for learning, growth, and connection, but it must be used with wisdom. And remember, life is a gift, and how you use your time actually matters. You're here for a purpose at this time. With all of this technology, no wonder they want to capture and steal our time. It's one of the most advanced times in history to be here. Maybe you should start asking why you're here, because I bet you it's not just to kill time. Make the most of every opportunity, and let's break free from the spell, from the web that's been casted, and that everybody's been told, just enter the net. Break free from the web, guys. Rebuke the spell. Break the spell. Wake up. Be aware. Start living your life with purpose today. Again, you're here for a reason, and you have to ask yourself, if you're here at this time, in one of the most advanced times in human history, why are you so important that they want to steal your time? My guess is you have a valuable mission. We all do. And if we don't realize there's an enemy out there who's come to steal, kill, and destroy, then what can we do with it? We will abort our mission. We won't fail, or we will fail. We won't succeed. We have to be aware it's real. It sounds so made up, but even the names, like the World Wide Web, look at your friends and your family scrolling. But don't start counseling and educating them. Educate and counsel yourself. Because change starts with us. More is actually learned from people. More is caught than taught. So let's walk the walk. Let's break the spell ourselves. And honestly, I think one of the first ways we can break it is to realize there has been a spell cast. There's no other explanation. It takes you over. and you spend your whole life scrolling. That one valuable thing, like, it just blows my mind. Time. We're never going to get it back. Money, we can always get money back. Time, we can't. I hope you guys, if you've just got on, I hope you re-listen to this video, because I hope that it adds value and doesn't kill your time. I hope it wakes you up. Live your life with purpose. I think you're here for a reason, and I'm glad you're here. Fulfill your mission for good. See you in the next video. Have a good day. Blessings to those who deserve them.